Okay, Donald Trump has been casting doubt on Russian interference into the election. Of course, that goes counter to the opinion of the FBI. That goes counter to the opinion of the CIA. And all week, Trump has been teasing a briefing on the issue of Russian hacking, which was supposedly set to happen earlier this week. And now Donald Trump has taken to his official means of communication de facto, which is Twitter, and said that the hearing was delayed and that it was moved to Friday. And Trump used this alleged rescheduling as evidence that there's something really weird going on here. He actually tweeted this over the last 24 hours, 48 hours rather, quote, "The intelligence briefing on so-called, quote, Russian hacking was delayed until Friday. Perhaps more time needed to build a case." Very strange. And of course, Trump using scare quotes around both intelligence and Russian hacking there. Now, immediately when Trump said, "Oh, I was going to be briefed on this day and now I'm not being briefed till Friday, and it's really, really weird," senior U.S. intelligence officials immediately said, actually, that's not true. The meeting was always scheduled for Friday. This was a briefing with the NSA and the CIA and the Director of National Intelligence and the FBI. They said, no, Trump is just lying. We haven't rescheduled it. The entire narrative is absolutely false. Trump doubled down on his apparent doubts about Russia's involvement yesterday morning, citing the interview that WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange did with Sean Hannity, which we talked about earlier in the show. What the hell is going on around here, Pat?
I just think that Donald Trump doesn't need an intelligence community. He seems to know everything about cybersecurity.
Yeah.
He said that it's nearly impossible to catch someone unless you catch them in the act.
He's like a smart person, as he said once.
Sure, yeah. And during the debate, when there was an accusation against Russia hacking the DNC,
Yeah.
he said, well, you don't know if it's Russia. You don't know if it's China. It could be a 400-pound man on a bed somewhere.
Yeah, and he also talked about how his 10-year-old son, it's amazing what he can do with computers. That was apparently part of the context, I guess, of Trump's understanding of the cyber intelligence world. So the president-elect cites a Fox News interview with the WikiLeaks founder, who just months ago was the enemy of the American right, in terms of supporting what he believes, while he doesn't trust our own intelligence agencies, which he will be overseeing as president and presumably depending on. These are some strange times that we are living in. And if you want to be skeptical because the legitimacy of your election win is on the line, I get that, right? Trump, if he concedes or admits that, hey, you know what? A foreign actor did influence the election in a way that helped me win, that significantly damages the legitimacy and mandate of your presidency, both of which are significantly lacking for President-elect Donald Trump. But say, I'll review the evidence when it's presented and go from there. To go national and just say, I don't believe all of our intelligence agencies. Instead, I take the word of a guy who many in my party wanted killed, people in the Republican Party and some in the Democratic Party, alluding to the idea of the death penalty for Julian Assange. That is not the way that the president-elect should be behaving.
He is in a sticky situation, though, but from everything we've seen from him, it's not surprising that he would take his own ego in the short term than these intelligence officials that he's going to be overseeing in the near future.
Yeah, WikiLeaks and Julian Assange support the pre-existing beliefs and desires of Donald Trump's ego. The national intelligence agencies have put out information that doesn't, so Trump ignores those and instead quotes Assange on Fox News talking to Sean Hannity. Send me your thoughts about this. I'm on Twitter at @DPakman. The show is on Twitter at David Pakman Show. Today's program is brought to you in part by Blue Apron. I received this week's Blue Apron delivery a couple of days ago, and I've sort of become a big advocate of Blue Apron. And the big thing for me is whenever I want to cook anything, I end up with too many ingredients, and I'm not planning correctly as to what I'm going to do with the leftovers after I use half of my bunch of celery for my soup. What do I do with the other half? Sometimes I figure out what to do with it. Sometimes it goes bad. Blue Apron ships to you the exact amount of each ingredient required for the recipes that you select, which drastically reduces food waste. It should reduce it to zero. And it also allows you, by sending you the pre-portioned and measured ingredients, as well as the recipe, it lets you and your family cook together. And as we talked about recently, when we learn about the blue zones around the world where we have the highest and longest life expectancy, one of the common things in those cultures is that people regularly cook together with actual fresh ingredients. Now, some of the meals available in January: spaghetti squash and marinara with mushrooms and garlic knots. That would be vegan producer Pat approved. You also have the spicy shrimp and Korean rice cakes with cabbage. I actually made this last night. Those Korean rice cakes, I've never seen anything like them before. Very tasty, very, very good. You can check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals for free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/Pakman. That is blueapron.com/PAKMAN. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.